At exactly 1 minute past midnight on New Year's Day, my phone rang. And within the next hour, my brother's career collapsed. My father was rushed to the emergency room, and a lie my family had been quietly protecting for years finally unraveled in public. My name is Elena Carter. I'm 35 years old, and 3 days before that call, my family told me not to come to New Year's dinner because I would make everyone uncomfortable. They didn't say it harshly. They never do. It came wrapped in soft language, the kind that sounds caring if you don't listen too closely. "You've been under a lot of stress," my mother had written early that morning, at the exact hour she always chose for delivering decisions that weren't meant to be argued with. "We think something smaller would be better this year." I read the message 3 times, not because I didn't understand it, but because I did. In our family, stress had always been a coded word. It didn't mean concern. It meant disruption. It meant I was succeeding in a way that shifted the balance, and balance in our house had always meant protecting my younger brother, Ethan. So I replied the way I had learned to reply over the years, short, agreeable, invisible. "Got it. Happy New Year." Then I placed my phone face down on the counter, not out of anger, but out of habit. When your reactions become something others can use against you, you learn to have fewer of them. That night, I stayed in my apartment alone. There was a half-eaten apple on the table and a cup of tea that kept going cold because I forgot to drink it. My laptop sat closed beside me, not because I didn't want to open it, but because I wasn't allowed to yet. Legal restrictions, temporary, strategic, necessary. I had been living inside those restrictions for weeks, guided by lawyers who spoke in precise timelines and careful silences. I told myself I was fine, and in a way, I was. It was the kind of fine you grow into after years of being quietly excluded, the kind that doesn't fight anymore because it already understands the pattern. Then at 12:01 a.m., the phone rang. It wasn't my mother. It wasn't my father. It was Ethan. His voice came through fast, uneven, like someone trying to keep pace with something already out of control. He didn't greet me. He didn't hesitate. "What did you do?" he demanded. "Dad saw the news. He's not breathing right." I didn't feel panic. I didn't even feel surprise. What I felt was something quieter, something steadier. Recognition. I had been expecting this moment for years, even if I hadn't known exactly how it would arrive. "Call an ambulance," I said calmly. Then I hung up. I didn't tell him that I had already prepared for this. That every document, every signature, every record had been put in place long before he ever picked up a phone to speak publicly about something that was never his. 3 days earlier, I had sensed the shift. It started with that message from my mother, but it didn't end there. My father called later that afternoon, his voice measured in the way it always was when he was building an argument. He spoke about family, about fairness, about how Ethan had been there from the beginning. He asked questions that weren't really questions, about contracts, about formal agreements, about what should have been done differently. I remember writing down the exact time of that call. It's something I've done since I was young. When you grow up in a house where things are often reinterpreted later, you learn to keep your own record. That night, my mother sent a longer message. It was emotional, carefully constructed, and impossible to respond to without becoming the villain in her version of the story. She wrote about her health, about everything she had sacrificed, about how painful it would be to watch Ethan struggle while I succeeded. And then she asked me, in a way that sounded like a plea but felt like a demand, to give him a share of what I had built. I didn't reply. I made tea instead. There are moments when speaking only deepens the conflict, and silence becomes the only honest answer. On New Year's Eve, a call from my cousin confirmed what I had already begun to suspect. Ethan had been talking, not just casually, not just privately, but with intention. He had told people to watch the news. He had hinted at something big. At the time, I didn't know exactly what he had done, but I knew it would involve me. When I opened my laptop after his midnight call, I wasn't guessing anymore. I searched his name, and within seconds, I found the interview. A polished segment on a financial news channel, framed as a story about a brother and sister building something remarkable together. I watched it once, then again. Ethan spoke with confidence, the kind that comes from believing your version of events will be accepted if you deliver it smoothly enough. He described ideas as shared, decisions as collaborative, success as something we had achieved side by side. For a moment, I could see how convincing it would be to someone who didn't know the history. Then he made his mistake. It was small, subtle, but irreversible. He referenced internal details from his current job, information protected by agreements he had signed, boundaries he had just crossed without realizing the consequences. I paused the video, went back, and listened again. The timestamp mattered. Every second of it mattered. I sent it to my lawyer. From there, everything moved quickly but not chaotically. That's the difference between reaction and preparation. By the time the sun rose, the response was ready. Not emotional, not defensive, just factual. A short statement clarifying ownership, correcting the record, and leaving no room for interpretation. At 5:55 a.m., it was released. By morning, the correction was everywhere. By midday, Ethan was no longer employed. The narrative he had tried to create dissolved faster than he could contain it. My mother called, asking me to stop it, to fix it, to protect him. She framed it as something I still had control over, as if truth were something that could be adjusted for the sake of comfort. I told her I couldn't lie, not publicly, not legally, not at all. She hung up. Later that day, I sent flowers to the hospital where my father had been taken. It wasn't an apology. It wasn't an agreement. It was simply acknowledgement. Love doesn't disappear just because boundaries appear. In the days that followed, everything settled into a new shape. My brother faced consequences that belonged to him. My company moved forward untouched. And my family, for the first time, had to confront a version of me that didn't step back to make things easier for everyone else. A week later, my father sent me a letter. It was brief, almost clinical in its wording, but it carried something I hadn't expected: recognition. He admitted he had been wrong about me. Not dramatically, not emotionally, just plainly. I didn't respond immediately. Some things don't need immediate answers. Some things need space to exist without being reshaped too quickly. Months passed. Life continued. My brother started over in a smaller way. My mother changed slowly, in ways I heard about more than I saw. My father remained distant, but not dismissive. And I built something new, not just professionally, but personally. A life where I didn't have to negotiate my presence. Looking back, the word that stayed with me wasn't betrayal or success. It was uncomfortable. The word my family had used to describe me. I understand it differently now. Uncomfortable is what people say when something shifts and they don't want to name it. It's what they call you when you stop fitting into the role they assigned you. It's not a flaw, it's a signal. It means something has changed. And sometimes, that change is exactly what was needed all along.